this one, we are going to learn a few types of verbs. This is not an exhaustive list of verbs. Obviously, there are other kinds and other forms, but these are the ones that are most frequently used at the beginner level. And also keep in mind that, like I said, it's not exhaustive. There are other forms of verbs that are not used as frequently as the ones that we're going to learn in this video. So these are the ones you need to know if you are at the beginner level and trying to strengthen your grasp over this language. So we're going to start off today with transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive, and the other one is intransitive words. Okay, just a brief recap for people who have just stumbled upon this video. Verbs are action words, as in any action that you do counts as a verb. Now there are other circumstances under which a noun and a verb coincide when it becomes a gerund that we'll learn in the further videos. But right now we are only going to focus on transitive and intransitive verbs. Intransitive, the first one in the first category, the transitive verbs, they only have a direct object. Now intransitive verbs, they have direct plus indirect object. For those of you who do not understand the concept of object in any given sentence in the English language, we have three things: subject, verb, and object. Now verb is obviously the action that's being performed. Subject is the one that is performing the action, and object is the one on which or on what or on whom action is being performed. For example, if I say that he is reading the newspaper, so obviously reading becomes a verb. He becomes the subject because he is the one who is performing the action of reading, and the action of reading is being performed on what? That is the newspaper. So that is what we call object. Now a sentence can have more than one object. That is when the case of intransitive verbs come in, when it has a direct and an indirect object. Let's look at some examples. Okay, we'll take the same example for the transitive verbs. Let's say he is reading the newspaper. Okay, here obviously reading is the verb, this becomes subject, this is object, so straightforward, there is only one object, hence it is a transitive verb. Next comes intransitive verb, where you have a direct and an indirect object. For example, I'm going to write a sentence, so try to point out the SVO. We like to call this as an SVO exercise, the subject, verb, and object. This is the first thing that students learn when they start their journey to learn this language. Is they start by learning to point out these three things in a sentence, that is the subject, verb, object. You always start with the verb because the action word is usually the easy to spot in a sentence. So whenever you are given any sentence, try to point out the verb first, and that should make it easy for you to point out the subject and the object. But coming back to the direct and an indirect object, let's see. Ram bought a gift for his brother. This is a sentence. I hope it is visible above. Let me erase this. Because in this corner I have the video feed. So Ram bought a gift for his brother. Let's say this is the sentence. So the first thing we do is find out the verb. Verb is obviously bought. Ram becomes subject, Now the doubt starts. This is where things start getting tricky and confusing, because there are two objects. The action of buying is being performed on a gift. Also, that gift is being bought for his brother. So there are two objects over here. So this becomes a direct object and this becomes an indirect object. This becomes an indirect object. So the verb that is bought becomes an intransitive verb. I hope this is clear. This takes a decent amount of practice to catch a hold of this concept, because it will take some time. You cannot, because these are just concepts. You need a sufficient amount of practice to get a good grasp, get a good hold over these concepts. Now, there are two more types of verbs that are frequently used. They're not exactly let's look at it first. It will make it clear when you understand them. So there are two things: present participle and past participle. This is also a kind of verb. So whenever you see an ing at the end of a verb root, for example, play becomes playing, dance becomes dancing. So this is present participle. This is again dancing, ing form of the present participle. Playing is largely used, the ing forms of verbs are largely used in present tense, but there are also conditions under which it can be used in past or in the future, like he had been playing, or he will be playing, so on and so forth. But largely it is used in the present tense, hence we call it the present participle. It is also one of the forms of verb. Similarly, we also have a past participle. The same thing is when you have an ed attached towards the end of a word. Play becomes played, dance becomes danced. All right, so these are largely and broadly four kinds of verbs that you need to keep in mind initially. There are also other regular, irregular verbs, auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, but you don't need to get too deep into it, because it will not play a major role in improving your spoken English or your fluency and so on and so forth. But these are the ones that are largely important from the technical point of view when you consider this language. We will definitely cover auxiliary verbs and modal verbs while discussing some other points, because it is easier to learn them at a later stage than now. Once when you have you are having a good grip over the language, then at a later stage we'll learn auxiliary and modal verbs. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.